Let's talk Tanya for the 18th of Iyar, Lag BaOmer. Today, in the Tanya, we begin chapter 49. Yesterday, we concluded chapter 48, and chapter 48 was all about the topic of Tzimtzum, which means that in order to create all the worlds, and specifically our world, it was necessary to have this contraction wherein God, as it were, pushes away his infinite light in order to make space for creation. It isn't only that there was one contraction. Kabbalah teaches us that actually there were three major contractions. Very specifically, the first contraction is between the world of Atzilus and the world of Bria. The second one between the world of Bria to the world of Yetzirah. The world of Yetzirah to the world of Asiya would be the third one. And within every single one of these contractions, these are just the general categories. The Alter Rebbe says each one of these three contains millions of minor contractions. And the reason for this is because we said that God pushes away all the light and he draws a small little ray of light into the empty space that was created by the original contraction. But even this small finite light, which emerges after the original Tzimtzum, that also is way too powerful for most of creation to handle. So we have that light itself has to be contracted and recontracted and recontracted until we have a state and a situation where there is very, very little light, very little divine energy present, because it's been pushed away and contracted and recontracted again and again. Why is God doing this? Why is God going through this effort of contracting his infinite light and then recontracting and recontracting? And the answer to that question is he's doing it for you and for me. In order to have a relationship, you need to have an entity outside of yourself. You need to have someone else. There wasn't space for anything or anyone else originally because everything was just God's infinite light and God's infinite energy. And God wanted a relationship. With who? With me, with you. So he contracted his light and recontracted his light and recontracted his light. All of this effort and all of this exertion in order to allow for me to come about and for you to come about so that we can have a relationship with God. The larger topic that we're talking about over here is reciprocal love. Thinking about this, taking a moment to contemplate God's awesomeness and God's greatness. And then thinking about the original Tzimtzum, and then all the Tzimtzumim that followed, all the contractions that followed. And realizing that essentially what we have over here is God pushing aside, you might even want to say abandoning all that's important to him, his infinite light. And for what? Because he loves me and because he loves you. This ought to evoke within us a corresponding emotional response. God loves me so much. I should love God back. Not only I should, but as we already explained, kamayim haponim laponim, this is a natural human response. Recognizing and understanding someone's love for me causes me automatically to respond back to that person with love. And what kind of love? God pushed aside all that was important to him in order to make space for his relationship with me. We ought to reciprocate in kind. There are many things that we have in life that are important to us, many different priorities that we have. But a lot of times, these important things and these priorities can distract us from our relationship with God. But just like God did not allow anything to get away in his relationship with us, he metaphorically pushed everything aside. We should respond in like and make sure that there is nothing in our life, regardless of how important it may be, that is distracting us from our relationship with God. In tomorrow's Tanya, we're going to analyze the morning davening, the morning prayer, and specifically the Shema and the brachos beforehand. And based on these ideas that we just spoke about, we will have an entirely new light and understanding of the entire Shema and the brachos that precede the Shema.